quotient rule is really just the natural progression from the product rule, because if I were to take this form right here, log 7 of 6, if I moved x up to the numerator, what would I have to do to its power? Change it to a negative, right? A negative will move that base x from the denominator to the numerator. And so if I use the product rule for this, I would get log 7 of 6 plus log 7 of x to the minus 1. And what you're going to see here in a moment is that any powers that are inside your logs can be moved out front. And so this is a result of two separate steps, but I can kind of combine it into one, because our rule is if you have a quotient inside of logs as the input, you can separate that and expand it out as individual differences of the logs. Okay, so what that means is any factors that are in the denominator of the input in a log are going to have a negative sign in front of them when you expand them out as individual logs. So if I look at this example right here, I have log 8 of. Now, when I count, again, you'll likely see I'll identify individual factors. In my numerator, there's 2, and in my denominator, there's 1. So by looking at this, and whether you mark this physically or whether you just make a mental note of it, this tells you how many different logs you expect. I expect 3 logs. I expect 2 of them to be positive, and I expect 1 to be negative. Okay, so when I expand this out, I get log 8 of 9 plus log 8 of x minus, because my next factor came from the denominator, log 8 of the binomial x minus 4. Okay, and so this would be my expanded form for that example. Okay. Now let's come back here and let's confirm what we did using this rule. So when I first did this, it was just showing how the difference, or the quotient, really just builds into the product rule. But if you took this, here you have one factor in the numerator and one in the denominator. So I have one positive log, one negative log. So when I expand this out, I get log 7 of 6 as positive minus log 7 of x, and that would be my solution. Now, what you have to pay attention for is 2 potential things. Okay? First of all, if you can factor your expression that represents your input, you need to factor it. Okay? So something like this is log 9 of 4x over x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay? That's the difference of squares. And so now if I apply these rules now, I have 1, 2 factors in the numerator, so I'm going to have 2 positive logs. And then I have 2 factors in the denominator, so I'm also going to have 2 negative logs. So when I expand this out, I expect to have 4 logs. So log 9 of 4 plus log 9 of x minus log 9 of the binomial x plus 3 minus log 9 of the binomial x minus 3. The order is not going to matter. When I do these, I will always go from left to right along the top, then left to right along the denominator. Okay? And so this would be your expanded form.